How do you get a lean, natural, shredded physique? No drugs, no TRT, no human growth hormone, no steroids. How do you get a lean, natural physique quickly? Stay tuned. So I'm going to talk to you guys about what I did in 2022 because in about 2 months, I lost about 20 pounds. It was like the last 20 pounds that I needed to lose in order to get like lean the way I wanted to get lean. Cause my thing was, I was like, I want to see abs, right? I want to see a six pack. That's what I was wanting. Never seen a six pack in my life up to that point. So I was like, man, I want this elusive six pack. I want to see what it looks like. I want it to be ripped. Long-term fat loss is probably the most ideal situation if you want to keep the weight off. For me personally, I was basically doing both the long-term approach, and then to get that last 20 pounds off, I did the short-term approach. So, but I'm just saying that in general, if you're like 40 or 50 pounds, this probably is not for you, like doing this real quick thing. But if you probably got about 20 pounds to lose, like many of you do, before the summer comes, like, you know, the summer will be here in like, 2 months. So a lot of people want to get leaner and they want to do it fast. Then what I'm talking about today is for you. So let's get into it. Step one, the calories and the protein are king. Just absolutely important. I don't, I hear a lot of people talking about calories, why you shouldn't count calories. Like all of that is a lie in my opinion. I got to this point counting calories. And actually, when you start thinking about all the stuff that people say you should do, like watching insulin and, all this other stuff, at the end of the day, it all results in a caloric deficit. If they say, well, you shouldn't eat certain foods, or maybe you should do time restricted eating, all of it at some point leads to you eating less calories. So at the end of the day, the calories are king. So when I was about 210 pounds, I was basically, there's different ways of doing it. But what I did was I just stopped eating a meal. So for me, that meal was lunch. Like I was like, all right, if I don't have to think about lunch, it's cool, it's fine. I can get through the day, and it makes it just a lot easier for me to manage these calories. So I didn't have to get super granular with the calories if I was giving up lunch or whatever meal I was giving up. For me, it was just lunch. I chose lunch because I go to the gym in the morning, so I always like to have a meal after I work out. And so if I needed to skip a meal, to me, lunch was the most important meal. But, you can do whatever works for you. So with that being said, I'm skipping a meal. And then for breakfast, I'm basically eating 4 eggs, a piece of toast or English muffin, no lunch. For dinner, I would normally eat like a half a chicken, like a half of a rotisserie chicken, or I would cook chicken tenders. Normally it was going to be chicken, pretty much chicken. So again, the calories, most important thing, right? The second thing is you have to, having said that the calories are important, the second thing I did was I simplified my diet. And this is where it becomes very difficult for a lot of people, because if you're one of these people that needs like a lot of variety in your diet, and you need like to be eating a lot of the different things, or you need to be eating different things all the time, this is not going to work for you. And I'm not saying you can't eat more than what I ate as far as variety, but it just makes it so much easier if you could just simplify it and just eat the same stuff every day. And so that's basically what I was doing. I was eating chicken, salad, vegetables, eggs, toast. For a snack, I would eat graham crackers or like watermelon. So it would be some kind of fruit or graham crackers, which would normally be eaten after dinner. So simplifying the diet to a select group of foods, simplifying the diet as far as eating out to maybe 1 or 2 restaurants. I did not eat out a lot. And so that simplicity keeps you compliant, right? So this is a psychological game at the end of the day. The question is, are you going to win it? Are you going to be able to actually win the mind game? Because you're going to get tired. You're going to get exhausted. You're probably not going to be feeling 100% every day because you're eating so less calories. And so at the end of the day, you're going to have to lock in and really, I know for me, I was going through some stuff at the time. So it was kind of easy for me to lock in, because I had a lot of stuff going on, and it was kind of like the gym and my lifestyle needed to be simple in order for me to just get through the day. So not eating lunch helped me out a lot, and it also kept me in a deficit. Step 2 is cardio, tons of cardio. I was taking a boxing course at the gym I go to, and I was doing that twice a week. And then after work, I would play basketball. So I'd be playing about an hour and a half of basketball. As far as the steps are concerned, because that's a big thing for people now, is to figure out how many steps they're taking. I would track the steps with this fitness counter. So I have one of these. Walmart, you can get it cheap. I'll put a link in the description for you to get to one. But I was getting anywhere between 12 and 15,000 steps with basketball. Now that didn't count what I was doing with the boxing stuff. So that's a lot of cardio. I would play basketball about 4 or 5 times a week, and I was doing the boxing training for like 2 days out of the week. So again, tons of cardio. But that cardio is going to make sure and ensure that you are in a caloric deficit. Because if you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose weight. It's just that simple. So the cardio and the caloric deficit working together, the cardio is going to ensure that you're in a caloric deficit. The caloric deficit is going to come from the food, but when you do the cardio, you'll get into a deeper deficit, which is how you will start to see the weight come off fast and in a decent amount of weight in a short period of time. So that's step 2, the cardio. Step 3 with the resistance training, I was basically doing like a bodybuilder split. So I still do a bodybuilder split to this day. Like I'm basically training one body part, sometimes 2 body parts twice a week. And I was targeting more of reps. So I would try to get anywhere between 10 and 20 reps on a lot of exercises, except for maybe like chest. I was still staying at 8 to 12 range. But shoulders, arms, back, it was really, 10 to 20 reps with a moderate weight. So basically, whatever I could do 20 times, and that when I get to the 20th time, I'm straining or I'm having issues getting it up. That's basically when, you're lifting the right amount of weight. I put a fitness guide too in the description. So if you guys want that, it's my fitness guide. It's my fitness schedule that I follow. So if you guys want that, you can get it there. But that's what I did for the exercise. And so basically, to sum it all up, a deep calorie deficit, tracking your calories, doing cardio, basically I'm going to say at least 4 or 5 times a week, you got to be doing cardio. And then also resistance training, higher reps, which probably burns more calories. But I'm also getting, a decent amount of reps in there in volume. One more thing I want to say too, as it pertains to the calories, is the main emphasis as far as macros for me was the protein. So if I'm getting, at least 120 to 150 grams of protein a day, I was cool with that. And I know I'm probably undereating. I was undereating it slightly, but at the end of the day, the weight was coming off and I liked the way I was looking in the mirror. And so the protein is very important. I would try to get at least under 100 grams of carbs, and I wasn't really tracking the fats that much. But when you're cutting, the carbs are going to go down because that's where carbs are very dense in calories. So you want to make sure you keep some protein in your system, because that's how you're going to be able to maintain your muscle and to keep that muscle. But you also need to be focusing on those calories. Thanks for watching the video. If you have a question, please comment below, and y'all take it easy. Peace.